shifting gears a little to Death Stranding 2.
Okay. Death Stranding 2, I have a big problem with Death Stranding 2.
Please elaborate.
Did you, and it's like, this is something that frustrates me a lot because it's something that I really thought that the gaming community would eventually rally against. And I've seen it go the exact other way, where the gaming community actually started defending this practice, which to me really, really annoys the fuck out of me. And that is the practice of early access.
Yes, I hate.
They did that. They did that with Death Stranding 2. Did you even know? Because like I haven't even heard. I heard literally nobody talk about this until I was researching topics for the podcast today, because I figured, we're probably going to be talking about Death Stranding 2. That's receiving like, glowing reviews from all of the outlets and all of this stuff. Yeah. And one of the things that I became aware, because I remember Googling when it was coming out, because I was thinking, do I want to stream it on release? Do I not want to stream it on release? I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I remember, it releases on the 26th. That's fine. So I'm like, I'm not overly concerned about it. I reach out to people at PlayStation. I'm like, hey, do you guys have codes? Like, what's the deal with that? They're like, codes are going to go out when the game comes out. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so suddenly I start seeing Let's Play episodes go up. I was like, this is the 23rd. Yeah. On the 23rd, I'm seeing episodes go up, and I'm like, wait, I thought the game came out on the 26th. Fuck is going on? And that's when I realized, this game actually has like the early access shit, yes. Which is if you bought the premium version of the game for like €90 or whatever, you get 48 hours of early access to the game. The reason why I dislike this, by the way, is I feel like it divides the community between the haves and the have-nots, which is like, one of the things that gaming has always done is it's been a little bit of an equalizer. At least when I was growing up, I've always looked at it as kind of like an equalizer, where it doesn't matter so long as you can afford the basic version of the video game and you have the hardware to run it. It doesn't matter if you're like a rich person, if you're a poor person, if you're somebody who can do sports, somebody who can't do sports, if you're like, basically, there's all of these things that divide us in life. And gaming always provided like this kind of like fair arena where everybody gets a shot. And just seeing that eroded in this early access stuff, something that I've always spoken against. Yeah. And what I've noticed is that over the years, as I continue to speak against this, the portions of the community are lashing back against me. And I'm just like, how is this even a thing? Like, how are people even defending this practice nowadays? It's just, and to the point where like, you didn't even know that this was happening for Death Stranding. It's just not even mentioned anymore. It's just been so normalized. Nobody even talks about it anymore. And if you do bring it up, people are like, this is perfectly fine. It's not an issue. Shut the fuck up. Dirty poor. And it's like, damn. It's weird, bro. It's just fucking weird to me. And for all intents and purposes, game amazing is all I'm hearing. Yeah. Cool. Still don't like that practice of the early access bullshit.
I agree with everything about the early access stuff. We've had conversations about early access before. I find it abhorrent because it isn't early access. It's late access. People need to get this bullshit out of their minds. If a game is playable on a certain date, that's the release date. That's the date that it released. It's just late access for everyone that doesn't want to pay extra for the game, which to me is just nonsense. But if you thought that the game was amazing, it's because you didn't read GameSpot's review. Now, everyone gave this game a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Some people even gave it a 10 out of 10, which we've had this conversation before. I don't think you can ever give a game a 10 out of 10 because 10 out of 10 would mean perfect, right? So there's literally nothing you will fix on this game, which is wild. I don't know if I've ever played a game that's a 10 out of 10. But anyways, GameSpot comes out and they give it a 7 out of 10. Now you might say, Barako, wait, 7 out of 10 isn't that bad. It just means sort of above average. It's good. It's not the best game they've ever played, but it's
not
good.
Actually, it doesn't mean above average in the actual scale that is used, which I've always found interesting. The actual scale that is used by mainstream websites is like 7 is average, which is interesting if you really think about it. In that scale, 7 is average. They do that defense that it's like, well, 7 is above average. It's like, no, that 7, that's not what it means according to the scale that you guys use in mainstream media.
I don't think it's just their scale. I think it's in the mind of people as well. Like, a 5 is bad.
Is like average.
Right? If a game gets a 5, that's bad. I know, I do it myself. When I see a movie, and there are actual movies on IMDb that I have watched that I absolutely enjoyed, that was like a 5.1 out of 10. But normally when you see 5.1 or 5, you think, that's going to be
not
bad.
Good.
When in reality, 5 out of 10 is average, right? That's middle of the road. Nothing great, nothing bad. It's just average. But in the minds of people, 5 is bad, 7 is average. So I can actually understand the rating. So they give it an average rating. But it's not the number that bothers me as much. What bothers me is the why. See, if you don't like a game for whatever reason, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. If it's up to me, right, and we talk about Monster Hunter Wilds, I played it a little bit during the open beta, I would probably give something like Monster Hunter Wilds a 7 or an 8, right? In my scale, which 7 would be above average. It's a fun game, but it's not my type of game, right? Rurikon would obviously not agree with that rating at all. But the reason I would give it that rating is because it's not my type of game. And if that's your thing, go for it. Although, if I'm a media outlet, I can't really hide behind that because that's why they have multiple different people writing articles. Because not all games are for everyone. So the guy who wrote this article was chosen because he did like, and he admits it, he loved Death Stranding 1. Going through the whole article, he basically praises everything in the article, right? Everything in the game. He says this is really good. Then he gets to his first real criticism. And he goes, the technology of the first one took hours to unlock, whereas in the second one, within the first 2 hours, you have all of the technology unlocked. And that's really bad. And I'm like,
I don't think that actually sounds like a good idea, so that you don't have to build worthless shit like you had to in the first one. In the first one, the fact that the technology was held back from you meant that a lot of the times you were working on substandard solutions that you would then be like, oh, I wasted all of these materials building this thing, and now with the thing that I've unlocked, it's so much better, and I can't like even get those materials back, like those are just fucking used, like that. You know, so I actually see them unlocking stuff faster as a good thing, personally, as somebody that played the first one, but I could be wrong because I haven't played this one yet, so I don't know.
The thing is, it makes sense from a realistic perspective, because if you already had this technology, what possible reason would there be for you not to have this technology, right? You have
in the first game?
You may as well. Yeah, when you finish the first one, you have everything unlocked. What if you log into the second one and suddenly they go, well, actually, you're going to spend 20 hours again running on your feet, not being able to carry shit. You would probably
it's the old Metroid thing. At the beginning of every Metroid game, like you have an encounter where you just lose all of your powers, and then it's
and a lot of games
you have to progress through the whole game to recover them again.
A lot of games do that, right? A lot of games do absolutely let you lose your stuff. But this is Hideo Kojima. He's always been weird and different, because this time around there's a lot more guns and stuff to unlock. A lot more fighting that happens, so the game is a bit more action oriented this time around, which it's a sequel. So obviously you're not really going to be finding out where the beach comes from, because a lot of that is answered in the first one. Now you're going to be actually fighting in this new world, which, again, so that's his first complaint. Then he gets to the actual reason why he hates the game. The portrayal of women. He has a serious problem with how they portray women in the game, because there's a photography mini game with 3 women who like to take selfies or pictures of themselves, which anyone who knows women anywhere ever, that's just, women love selfies. Like, bro, the selfie camera was mainly designed for women.
Not all of them. Women are like, everybody else.
Yeah, but
it's
the
like
problem
some
is
women like selfies, some don't. Some men like selfies, some don't.
Would you say, so when we're talking about generalities, we are talking about generalities because it's the majority. And majority of women prefer to take or like selfies. This is known. Like, this is marketing. Right?
I don't agree.
Well, you can't say you don't agree. Like, I believe I saw an actual thing where Apple said women
let's put it like this. Let's put it like this.
Way more selfies than male users.
Listen.
Yeah.
Let's put it like this.
Mm-hmm.
My life experience due to at which point in my life selfies became popular.
Yeah.
Okay, which was later in my life than for younger people, obviously. For a lot of people, they've existed this whole time where selfies have been super popular. Not the case for me. And maybe because of that, a lot of the women that I interact with on the daily, they're not like the biggest, oh, let me take a selfie, let me film my
because they didn't grow up with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't grow up with it. So I guess my life experience might be betraying me. That's all I'm saying.
Your life experience is fine. I'm not going off of life experience or lived experience. I'm going off of actual studies. You. So you have a study from...
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's fine. Saying. Let me just share this because people in chat might also care about this. Jonathan Haidt, a psychologist from the US, they did a study on this where they basically went into a school and they gave the students their cell phones. And they observed what the students do with their cell phones. The boys immediately started downloading video games and started playing video games against one another, basically competing. And this is how they sort of established hierarchies. The girls started taking selfies and uploading it to Instagram. And they marked a very clear increase in depression as a result of this, because that's just what
you
women
mean. The girls started getting depressed?
Well, their findings ultimately did prove that social media and smartphones is causing severe depression in young women because they like to take selfies and upload it to social media.
Let me tell you something, okay? Listen, here's what you got to do, young women out there. Rather than taking pictures of yourselves and uploading them online, you're going to paint some Volcas terrain, and then you take pictures of that and you post that online. And it's like every time you post one of these, people go, "Oh, that looks really fucking good, dude."
Yeah.
It's like, so there you go.
So the thing...
I solved the problem, Akalon. I solved it.
The point I'm trying to make here is, of course, you'll have some women who don't care about selfies and don't take a lot of pictures. I have friends who do this exactly. But on average, it's not... it's not a wrong trope that women take way more pictures than men. Right?
Okay, I believe you. I accept that. Yeah.
This is his problem. He hates this. The other one is... there's this one woman who continuously take off her shoes, and all of the other NPCs remark how as soon as she walks into a room, she takes off her shoes. And this is also a trope about women apparently liking to take off their shoes, to which, again, here I will just speak about my own lived experience. I don't think I've ever known a single girl that has come to visit my house that doesn't within 10 minutes remove her shoes so that she can sit on the couch and put her feet on the couch or whatever, right?
Because and not only that, but because society has kind of like forced women to wear the most uncomfortable shoes imaginable, like those fucking high heels bullshit.
I would say they forced themselves to wear that. I don't think it's society that forces them, but whatever.
Whatever the fuck, dude. Yeah,
that's literally, you go through his entire article. Those are the things that he dings it for. They're tropes about women, and according to him, it's misogynistic tropes about women. And therefore, the game loses 3 points.
You want to talk about misogynistic tropes? Okay, listen, here's what I have to say to this person who wrote this article, okay? That was a movie that I think it was around the 90s. This is a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's called From Dawn Till Dusk.
Oh, what a
Is it From Dawn Till Dusk?
Yeah, From Dawn Till Dusk.
I think it's From Dawn Till Dusk. Yeah, the vampire one.
Yeah.
And so in that movie, Quentin Tarantino wrote a scene where Selma Hayek is pouring, I forget if it's champagne or vodka, down her legs through her feet. Okay. And then and then he casted himself into that fucking scene to drink the stuff from Selma Hayek's feet. Yep. All right. And that's based as fuck.
Yeah. Like that. He just did that. But of course, we live in a new era where,
what a fucking Chad, bro.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome, by the way.
It is a brilliant movie.
Awesome.
But hey, the man looked at Salma Hayek. He was like, she's hot as hell. I want her toes in my mouth. And he was like,
I want to drink some wine. It's like, fuck
it. I'm sure she could have said no. And although Quentin Tarantino is known as a bit of a hard ass in those situations, but ultimately, it's the problem with why he dinged the game 3 points that I have an issue with. Like, you want to give a game a 7 out of 10 because you genuinely believe that's all the game is worth? Go for it, right? I'm not going to have a problem. But then at least have a reason for it, right? Back up that shit with actual gameplay reasons for why you think this game is terrible. In this case, the guy literally just inserted his own politics, and he wants progressive storylines. He doesn't want whatever Hideo Kojima is offering. And so the game gets dinged 3 points down to 7 out of 10. It's not the biggest story necessarily, but it just once again proves how absolutely brain dead some of these journalists are in the games.
You know what it proves? It proves to me what I've always said. It's like, listen, reviews are as important. I mean, not as important. The most important thing about a review is knowing who wrote it. Yeah. That's like the most important thing, so that you know, okay, what are these person's tastes like, so that you can actually get relevant information. So here's an interesting thing. For some people, this review is going to be important. Why? For people that have that same issue, that they just have this progressive ideology where it's like, well, I don't want to play a video game where women can potentially be even in the least bit objectified, despite the fact that every single character in a video game is going to be objectified regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity. It's just the way that it goes. Just like, for instance, whenever you watch a movie, all of the characters in that movie are being objectified in one way or the other. This is why every single one of them is wearing makeup, enough makeup to not bake, but like to frost a cake.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of these actors are going to be wearing it. So everybody gets objectified. But specifically for the people that have an issue with maybe a little bit of skin showing, maybe a little bit of a foot showing up, or whatever it is, then they can read this review and they know who the author is, and they're like, okay, this person aligns with me politically, therefore this review is valuable for me politically. And everybody else that doesn't, they can look at their review and go, oh, it's the guy who doesn't like when women show skin in video games. I don't need to watch this review. And that's what I'm saying. The most important thing about a review is knowing who is the person writing the review, and knowing about the person writing the review. Yeah. So that way you can choose whether or not that review is for you. And that's pretty much the way that it goes. If this person wants to ding the game for whatever the fuck reason, I think it's dumb, but that's just because I'm not going to agree with them. So it's whatever. I think that people give way too much value to reviews to begin with. So I don't.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It's stupid to ding the game over like, oh, this woman took off her shoes. It's like, oh no.
Yeah. No, I that's really my only problem with it. Like, as I said, give whatever rating you want, but damn, just give a good reason for why you're downvoting something, not just, oh, it happens to not align with my bullshit worldview, which is just super, super annoying.